Good evening everyone and welcome along to League of Europe. We are here tonight for F1 22 action. It is Season 9, it's Division 1, it's Round 12 of the Championship as we take in the Singapore Grand Prix. No April Fool's joke implied. We are here in Singapore, of course, for the Singaporean Grand Prix at the Marina Bay Street Circuit. My name is James Head. I'm delighted to be taking to the stream, of course, as always. And joining me in the comment box will be, of course, Mr. Mark Aldridge. He is there in the lobby, as you can see on your screen. He will be joining me very, very soon at just a moment's notice. I'm absolutely guaranteed in terms of the racing for Division 1 tonight. And the big question now is, of course, who is going to take the championship going into the break week, which, of course, consists of Austria, which will be the race after the break week. It was implied, I think, last week that we weren't actually going to race this week. However, I knew better. It was Singapore this week, and then we've got the break week, of course, next week. So, Selly leading the way in the championship on 180 points. He is out on top, of course, with that dreadful race that he had in Mexico. That spin, of course, he had in the early stages of the first half of the race. Selly there, still in the championship lead. Campbell didn't turn up. He is here tonight, and it is a role reversal from last week as well, because Selly is not here. Campbell, however, is, so Campbell now can come back and then potentially for a race win, and then take the championship lead off him going into the break week, of course, in Austria. He's on 157 points, Selly on 180, so Selly has got a very good margin to be had, 23 points currently. It is still mathematically possible for Campbell to take the championship lead tonight. Slippery Cucumber in third on 105. He could be the rogue one, I think, to try and spoil the Campbell party, with Alpin fourth on 102. Whiter in fifth on 88. Then Yildirim in sixth on 85. Nathan in seventh on 74. Gary in eighth on 73. Rocco in ninth on 68. And Pease in 10th on 55 points. He has said also in the chat, in Discord that is, that he wants this race cancelled. And to be fair, he is absolutely right, because I detest this track on this game. Doesn't promote any overtaking in terms of opportunities, doesn't really get a good race around here, especially if there's interchangeable conditions. I'm honestly surprised why drivers might like this track. I absolutely detest this. This is one of my most horrid tracks that I could ever hope for in terms of commentary and in terms of actually racing around here as well. Hopefully, though, for the benefit of everyone that is tuning into the stream, it is going to be a good race, and hopefully for the benefit of us fools in the commentary box, because it is April Fool's Day, of course, for us fools in the commentary box, then it is going to be a very good race, of course, to be had out on track. We have stopped the stream a little bit early, so I'm having to run through a little bit of time while we wait, of course, for the drivers to get in. We have got more attendance this week, though, which is very, very good. We do have the Easter holidays as well here in the UK, so that means next week everyone can have a good old Easter egg, a cream egg, whatever egg you might end for. There might be some boiled eggs out there as well. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, Easter is next week, so happy Easter to everyone for next week. And yeah, hopefully it is going to be some really good racing out on track tonight in Singapore, even though I absolutely detest this track. Constructor standings, by the way, coming into tonight, Ferrari on 231 points, Mercedes in second on 224, so 7-point advantage going into this week. Of course, Ferrari picked up more points than sadly last week for Mercedes. They were that was, of course, Nathan finishing in third last week. Haas in third on 140, with Williams in fourth on 139, of course, after Alex Albon's very good qualifying session in real life in Australia. AlphaTauri in fifth on 108, Red Bull sixth on 93, then Aston Martin seventh on 78, McLaren in eighth on 77, then Alfa Romeo in ninth on 72, and Alpine in 10th on 62 points. So that is the order of the land when it comes to constructors. Of course, the championship fight will go definitely into the break week, which of course is next week in Austria. Division 3, by the way, is also going to be live. Just Games and I think Evil Dragon in the commentary box. If you do want to take in that, you can. We have got 18 drivers currently in the lobby. I believe we've pretty much got everyone in. apart from Michael commentator, who hasn't joined the chat just yet. Hopefully he will be here very, very soon indeed. And looking ahead to the action, of course, here in Singapore around the Marina Bay Street Circuit, which of course is changing in real life. They are doing road extensions, I believe, and roadworks to the Esplanade bit coming through turn 15, the out of the middle sector. All of that basically is going to be fun. They're going to get rid of the chicanes, which I think is quite positive. They could promote another DRS zone there as well. And currently on this layout, there's 23 corners out on track, around a 4.928 kilometre circuit. There's about, I think, half a kilometre of circuit getting taken out, basically, with the chicanes and all of that. So I think it's down to something like 4.4, I think, 4.5 kilometres, something like that. It is going to be a very, very quick street circuit, of course. It always is around here in Marina Bay. There are 3 DRS zones already on this track. One down, of course, to start penetrating towards turn number 1, where we saw Rocco famously go 3 wide in the F2 race around here, which I fondly remember. He is here trying to replicate that potentially tonight as well. There's another DRS zone, of course, down into Memorial Corner at turn number 7 at the end of the first sector, and then one down as well in towards Connaught Corner at turn number 14, and that is on the adjacent track to Stamford Corner, which is coming through the right hander of turn number 8. So hopefully some good racing to be had, hopefully some really good action out on track, even though I detest this track. A man that might not detest this track, though, is here in the commentary box alongside me. It is Master Mark Aldridge. And Mark, here tonight, Singapore, April Fool's Day. What could possibly go wrong? If he is here. Which I don't think he is. I didn't...
Oh, sorry.
There he is.
I was on mute. There we go. Yeah, no, what could possibly go wrong? I also hate this track as well. So, yeah, but I love commentating it. It's fun to commentate. It's just... but maybe not at these guys' levels because they're going to be quick and obviously very, very consistent, but it's a track that doesn't require tons of practice because it's just, you just run around trying not to hit the wall, really. It's just the most efficient way of going around it for someone of my pace. It's not the most entertaining one to drive, but weather sometimes plays a factor here.
It does, and interchangeable conditions, I think I was mentioning there at the start of the stream, interchangeable conditions can really change. I always, whenever I come to Singapore and I say that I've had probably the most experience in terms of commentary around this track, we had a race, I think it was in TML, it was back in like Season 5, Season 6, where it went from dries to inters, then full wets, back to inters, back to dries, 3 safety cars and 2 VSCs, all within 31 laps. So if that's anything to go by, I think we might be in for an absolute treat, or in for an absolute horrid time.
Yeah, I mean, Noah Luigi, many moons ago, once did he stuck on some wets, I think, and I think I don't know how to say his name. I forget the F1 driver.
Matthias van Erven?
Yes, who I know as better as, I think, Onyx. I believe he was the same driver, yeah. He did a race the other day in the PSGL, I think it's their E-Series, I think, and he stuck on the wets when everyone stayed on inters and managed to make the gap, so it can happen, and it happens not just in old games, but this game, so... I love a bit of change of conditions. Let's have a bit of that, as long as it doesn't slow it down too much, because I've got a race to run at some point, hopefully this evening.
Yeah, hopefully these guys do get finished a little bit earlier ahead of schedule. It is a very long race around here. It's normally around an hour and 30, an hour and 40 minutes. So that might mean Division 2 and Division 4, because the commentary team for Division 4 is here, both Campbell and Packer, and also the Division, or part of the Division 2 commentary team, Killer, of course, is in the lobby along with J. Cole. So both of them are here. We have to delay upon delay, I think, in terms of what we've got in terms of the commentary teams here, in terms of what we're going to see out of track. But hopefully it is going to be a good race. Brendan there in the chat as well. Thoughts and prayers with everyone driving this track. Gary for the win. Sticking by his good old Irish roots. It is good to see. St. Patrick's Day, however, was a couple of weeks ago, unfortunately. So you're a little bit late to the party on there. Everyone leaving the pit lane early suggests to me, though, Mark, I think we're in for a bit of rain potentially towards the end of qualifying. Everyone is out, on track, very quickly indeed. So that makes me suggest I think the rain, if it's forecast, is going to be here in the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Yes, yeah, people are very, very swift getting out, which is not something you normally see to this level. Although it is a long lap, so maybe they're thinking... you know, 3 laps, got to get round, got to get in and out. But yeah, I've asked for a weather update, but none is forthcoming yet. So yeah, it will be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if there is any kind of changeable weather. Wouldn't surprise me.
It will indeed, and the American of Packer, who has literally flown to the other side of the world to be here tonight in Singapore, coming to the left-hander at turn number 13 on the run down in towards Connaught Corner at turn number 14, which is the right-hander, of course, out of the middle sector. And of course, in real life, they are changing this track layout all the way from this corner, from turn 14, basically going to go straight. There is a big old straight road down where the escape road is coming out of turn 16. There's a big old road down there. That's the road they're going to be going down. They're regenerating all of this part of the track all through the grandstand section, then underneath the underpass. All of this is taken away, and then they'll rejoin through the chicane of turns 20 and 21, which is pretty much going to be, I think, turns 14 and 15 on the track, if I'm not mistaken, in real life. However, Packer now starting up on a lap. We'll get rid of the timing tower on the left-hand side just because he's the first man on a lap. Plenty of traffic in the final sector to look at. The 2 Red Bulls and the 2 Ferraris are coming through that part of the track, certainly, as Packer now comes through the left-hander of turn number 3, through into the right-hander of turn number 4, and then, of course, into the right-hander of turn number 5, and looking quite good so far. The American very tight to the apex there through 5. Now down Raffles Boulevard, in towards Memorial Corner at what will be turn number 7 on the track. 27 flat in the first sector from Packer, not looking too bad at all, as he now comes through turn 7, and then in towards turn number 8, named Stamford Corner, or Stamford Bend as it's known as on this track, and then in towards turn number 9 at Padang, I should say, coming through turn 9, and then on the run down towards the Singapore Sling. Very much a good name to try and pronounce on track, and Packer takes too much of the curb through Singapore Sling, and that is him invalidating on his run.
Yeah, it's you got to be greedy there. You got to try and take as much curve as possible, but without doing exactly what he did. Killer takes a slightly different line, as I've just rode on board with him. That curb on the corner after is very sketchy sometimes in the race. It seems a bit unpredictable. So imagine a few people avoid that, as Killer's getting a little bit of a oversteer here. It's so hard to know when to get on the power. There's a lot of, like, you know, traction zones out of these 90 degrees. So yeah, it's a long lap. It's a long lap where you've got to try and minimise mistakes as much as possible. But he's actually on the mediums, which I think is quite interesting. He always tries something different here historically. Whenever I've raced with him, I expect that again here today.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm looking at Campbell coming through the final corners. Talk about commitment and talk about high revving through the corners. Beautiful from Campbell on the run to the line. Goes a second quicker than Verstappen. Clearly ahead of everyone else so far. Of course, Selly not here tonight. That will put him with a bit more pressure as Matthias has crashed out, I think, of qualifying. In fact, he's retired into the pit lane, so I think he might have a qualifying ban for being AWOL last week, if I'm not mistaken. As Nathan now goes quickest with a 35.6. Not a bad lap there at all. Nathan there in second. Gary there in third. QVR Alp, formerly Alp, of course, on the run to the line, 35.5 now goes quickest. The AlphaTauri man now joining QVR, so congratulations to him. Slippery Cucumber there going second as well. So the main protagonists in the early stages are up towards the front end of the field, certainly within the top 4, and then you've got Gary, unfortunately, who's in 5th position and is just there in the middle of everything at this stage. But the Irishman in 5th doing a good job. Wouter is on a lap as well, coming through the final couple of quarters. He might be a man to watch out for actually around here. He has been quick around here in the past. Looks to go around Isaac Gary sort of area on the run to the line. Goes right in between both of them by 0.07 of a second ahead of Isaac. So it's Albad on top, Cucumber in second, Nathan there in third. And early on, the protagonists are there pretty much playing in form. Jensen, by the way, the sole Mercedes out on track, down in 13th position. Of course, he has been interchanging between PC, where he ran, I think, in the PSGL event on Thursday, as well as the PS side, of course, where he is still very familiar with. I know PC, I think he's going to be moving on to F1 23. So Jensen there in 13th. The sole Mercedes, that could be big trouble for them, potentially, judging by Jensen's form in recent weeks and judging by Nathan and Campbell, who are currently 3rd and 4th in qualifying.
Yeah, it's looking quite, you know, as you'd expect already, judging by this time. I found out something the other day. I had no idea that Raul Ruta, by the way, happy birthday for earlier in the week, was Sweet Crown. They're the same person. I didn't know that. I only found that out in the week. So, yeah, because I thought Sweet Crown was a very good driver, whereas I didn't think Raul Ruta was as good as him. It's the same person, so I'm very wrong.
The things that a name change can do to you, I think, there, from Wouter's perspective in 6th position. And I mean, 36.3, you mentioned there, he's quicker than Izzat, he's quicker than his teammate there, Verstappen 3/10 off him as well. Wouter, here's an outside chance for a potential top result, I think, here tonight. He has been quick around here in the past. He's there in 6th. He's got Gary ahead of him, which I think will probably be boasting a lot more confidence than actual necessary. But Gary there in 5th, doing a good job. Matthias, by the way, in the chat also saying it's going to be dry within the race as well. So all of that early shenanigans in qualifying with Slash the only one currently out on track, I think, just starting up on another run. In fact, he's got this next lap in validation. So Slash coming through the right-hand return number 5 is on an invalid lap, but he's the only car out there, so we'll give him a little bit of airtime. But Albert on top, Cucumber 2nd, Nathan 3rd, Wouter there in 6th, as we mentioned. They're ahead of his not doing too bad at all. Any surprises early on this qualifying session? Ghost Falcon, of course, a brand new driver into the session, 36.9 instead of mediums.
Yeah, he's from Slovakia, so I'm wondering if this is... I wonder if it's Cookie Games on an alt account. Just part of me wonders. Slightly odd. Or maybe he's like a Pokemon and he's the evolved version of Ghost Recon. He'll evolved a hell of a lot, I'll tell you that, if he's in D1, because Ghost isn't very good, and I hope you won't mind me saying that, because he's in my division. Yeah, I don't know. I saw the name, I just went on the standings and saw the flag. I thought, okay, interesting. Keeping a very close eye on him this evening.
Yeah, Ghost Falcon, of course, from the country of Peter Sagan, the famous Slovakian cycle racer, of course, or the cyclist, I should say, yeah, the sprinter. Famously, of course, picking up many a Tour de France win in his time. Hopefully that is not Peter Sagan in the car of the Aston Martin there in 12th position. Hello, Peter, if you're tuning in. But Slash back into the pit lane. I think Packer might be the first one on a lap as well. Just looking through, Verstappen could be next up as well, but I think Packer is going to be the first one once again to go on for another run there. The American coming through the right-hander of turn 19 underneath the grandstand. Albert on top, Cucumber there in 2nd, Nathan there currently in 3rd. Good evening, by the way, to everyone that is tuning in to the session, to qualifying, of course, here in Singapore, and coming to the final corner. Packer went a little bit deeper into the apex. I thought he was going to pick up an invalidation there. In the end, down in 60, no lap time on the board. He's really going to get a lap time in. He's been quick around here in the past. Can he manage to do that?
Absolutely, and I don't want to stoke the flames of my theory even further, but if you know who Cookie Games' favourite driver is, it's a certain Fernando Alonso, and he's driving around in an Aston Martin. I've got my eyes on this one. Expect him to go quite well here, is my feeling, and especially if he goes very hard wheel to wheel with Gary, because there's no love lost between them two. But yeah, this will be fun.
And well, of course, as Packer now down in towards the Singapore Sling at turn number 10, has looked pretty good actually on his run. Takes less of the apex there through turn 10 of the Singapore Sling, then through the right-hander of turn number 12. That really hangs off your camber of the corner there, coming through across the Anderson Bridge, in towards the hairpin now at turn number 13. And then, of course, on the run down and towards Cornock Corner once again, down the 3rd DRS zone around here. There's a yellow flag in the first sector. I think somebody's picked up this next lap in validation. That might be Izzat potentially, who's picked that up. Packer runs so far wide, coming out of turn 14, then in towards the right-hander now of 16 and 17, famously Renault Gate, or Pico Gate, as he invalidates his lap, coming through turn 17, riding too much curb. Easy to do around this track, and Packer once again not on a valid run. Yildirim there down in 15th position as well. He's actually the next one on a run. He was purple, I think, in the middle sector, just on the camera shot there. Yildirim, though, looking quite quick. He has been quick around here in the past as well. He'll let this man now coming in towards the grandstand of turn 18, and then through the chicane now of turns 19, and then in towards the next chicane underneath the underpass of turns 20 and 21, when the Singapore Eye is, of course, on the left-hand side. We now come through the left-handers of 22 and 23 through the final couple of corners with Yildirim on the run to the line, and in the end, 6th ahead of Wouter. Not a bad lap there at all.
No, not bad at all. And you mentioned Packer having to go halfway across the world, the virtual world, but this is a virtual stroll for Izzat, because I believe he's based in Singapore. So
he is indeed.
Is a very rare home Grand Prix in the world of league racing, I would assume.
Oh my words, goodness me, sorry to cut you off. I'm on board with Cucumber. I'm not sure if there's lag on his end. He's had a huge invalidation. but he almost looked like he was pushing the car a little bit too much coming through the final couple of corners. Alp, by the way, is up on his time. He was a tenth and a half up through that middle sector. He now comes through in towards turns 22 and 23, trying to put pole position already out of reach of Cucumber on the run to the line. Oh, and he might have just done that as well. 35 flat, big lap time in from Alp, big final sector, and the Turk American goes quickest, 35 flat. He's 5/10 clear of Cucumber. Campbell, by the way, also invalidated in his first run. He's backed off his second run because he hasn't got any ERS left. Might be that he actually goes for third run on this set of soft compound tyres potentially. Gary there, by the way, with the 136 flat, not a bad lap there at all, going into fifth, and Rick there in sixth, who did give us a little bit of a scare a little bit earlier on as well. Maybe an April Fool's joke from the Finns' perspective, but he's there in sixth position. Goes Falcon there in seventh. You'll bring Verstappen right to top 10. Is at Jensen, Rocco Killer, J. Cole top 15, then Packer, Pease, who was retired out of the session with the qualifying ban, and Slash and Matthias also with the qualifying ban. Down at the back of the field as I pick on the ball with Shazoo Jensen, who was not on a run, I believe, coming through the middle sector split, or coming through down the Anderson Bridge. But Jensen down in 12, he has been wanting form to come his way towards this end of the game cycle. There is honestly no form existing for him. He's not on the lap at the minute, but Jensen down in 12, a shadow of his former self, 1.5 seconds off Alp, is very disappointing to see.
Yeah, you pointed this out a few weeks ago, how inconsistent he is, and I've always thought of him as an incredibly quick driver. Very, very nice young man whenever I spoke to him as well. But yeah, very, very odd to see that kind of fall off. It's not very odd to see the fall off of J. Cole though. He's right at the back for some reason, and probably where I'd anticipate. But then you compare it to the pace of someone like Rick, who is flying here. It's very, very, very pacey effort from him so far.
Yeah, very pacey effort from him indeed. 5 minutes to go as well, with Rick there coming into the pit lane in sixth. Cucumber, by the way, is back out on an out lap, so he decided to go fresh set of soft compound tyres, out of sync with everyone else, so that means he's got the track pretty much to himself, unless everyone decides to dive out of the pit lane with around 3.5 minutes to go. The traffic is quite violent around here normally. Alp though out on top, Cucumber in second. Cucumber has honestly got to rely on his own pace, I think, to try and get this pole position. Alp 5/10 clear of him. What does the Canadian have to do for pole position here tonight? Because it looks almost as if it's an impossible task.
I mean, how committed Alp was in that third sector, I was absolutely amazed. He must have the setup absolutely nailed, because that was just looked like it was on rails. It looked like you couldn't go quicker through sector 3 when I was riding on board with him. It was scary, to be honest.
It was, and maybe channeling Nina Montana, who was actually absent from this comment section, which is a little bit weird for Saturday night. Montana, if you are there, please let us know that you're alive, as Cucumber is on the run down until the left-hander of turn number 1. Alp out on top from Cucumber in second, Nathan there in third. Cucumber now coming through the left-hander of turn number 3, runs out wide there, nearly invalidates his lap, actually on the exit there of turn 3. Now until the right-hander of turn number 5, onto Raffles Boulevard, on the run through the kink of turn number 6, which is incoming, and then down until Memorial Corner at turn number 7. Cucumber looking good on this lap so far. 26.6 is nearly up there in the first sector compared to Alp. However, invalidates coming through turn number 7. So tricky with the track limits around here. Cucumber, I think he's got enough fuel for another lap. He can save up his ERS on this run. Alp though out on top. Cucumber there in second. Nathan there in third, and Cucumber 35.5. Nobody is going to get close to Alp. Cucumber, however, if he can stick a lap in as he just obliterates the curbs there, coming through the Anderson Bridge, nearly hits the wall as well, coming across the Anderson Bridge, he has got either to make it round in the next minute and a half and he'll be fine, otherwise Cucumber is pretty much out of this qualifying session and might remain there in P2.
He's gonna have to. I mean, it's so tough as well, because of course he's cutting everything, isn't he? Yeah, he's wants to get round. It's not to save any kind of time, because he's only going to get one lap anyway, so no harm, no foul, you would probably argue. But yeah, it's a difficult one. He's going to want to improve. Almost certainly he's going to want to improve. Huh? Okay.
Oh, and he spins in the pits!
Well, that makes a mockery of what we said. Now that's a bit
There's front
sketchy.
Wing. Front wing, front wing end plate, I think, on the left side has just gone as well. Or a winglet at least, but the Aston Martin garage, because Gulls Falcon has literally just come out of the pit lane, he's been held up even more. I'm not so sure that he's going to get this turned around.
No, he's not. There's no chance. Absolutely no chance. He's and it makes the cuts look even it makes the cuts actually look bad now, because you shouldn't be doing that. Yeah, that's not ideal, but he's going to be sweating now, because there's going to be a couple of people. Nathan and Campbell are definitely the kind of people that are capable of improving. And if that is the artist that is definitely not Cookie Games, and you know, people like Yulbrim, Ruta, you know, people don't, you know, and someone can throw in a bit of an odd one as well. So you won't be sitting there too happy with that.
Yeah, they've got to try and improve. Obviously, Nathan and Campbell especially, I think, they'd try and challenge Alp. Alp back, but by the way, he's back out on an outlap and he's coming through, I think, turn 19 as Cucumber has retired in the pit lane. Out of the session he goes, lets the lamp damage on the car. Jekyll, by the way, is the first one on the run, coming across the Anderson Bridge now in towards 11, and now across the Anderson Bridge in towards turns 12, and then until the left-hand return number 13. Alp out on top, Cucumber second, Nathan there in third. The king of Singapore, it seems, as Alp certainly in this qualifying session. Jekyll, however, on the run now down in toward the right-hander of 14. 2 tenths up, 103.8. Going to be nowhere near Alp in terms of his pole position, unless he cuts the track, which he has done a bit too much there, as he invalidates coming out of turn 14. Now, I saw Whiter run so far out wide coming through turn 14. He didn't get an invalidation, but Jekyll sticks all 4 wheels off a white line, and he gets an invalidation. Just come to show the track limits around the track is broken.
Yeah, no, it is indeed. Campbell is doing well. It's looking like enough to beat Nathan, who
Nathan's
isn't going to improve. Yeah, it's going to be enough to beat Nathan as form stands, but you want to try and edge ahead of Cucumber. This will be telling. Where is he now? He needs to be about a tenth and a half up, really, to be miles clear. So, in a very odd place, actually. He's just got to kind of he'll know that he's probably got 0 chance of pole. And he just needs to get round.
And he has 0 chance of pole position now, because he's just invalidated through turn 17, where Packer did earlier on, as Gary there in 5th. Jensen goes up to 6th as well. He's on another run, is up there 7th, is the first one across the line. Alp, however, a tenth and a half up, 102.9 in the middle sector, nearly invalidates coming through turn 17. Doesn't need to improve the Turk-American, coming through the right-hand return 19. This is about to put everyone out in a different league here in League of Europe Division 1. They belong in Division 2, I think, coming now through 22 and 23. Alp on the run to the line, surely going to go quicker, and he does. 34.9, breaks the sound barrier with that lap time. Brilliant lap from Alp, and he goes 6 tenths clear of Cucumber in second, Nathan there in third, Gary's backed off his lap, Jensen is done, Yulbrim is up there 7th and 8th, Campbell's still in 4th, Rick to the line does improve slightly, goes 9th, stays there for now, goes Falcon, by the way, Mr. Cookie Games himself potentially is 3.5 tenths up, coming out through the final couple of corners. Primoz Miklevich, or whatever his name is, Scott Falcon is better on the run to the line, he goes 4th. 35.734, great lap time from the debutant, the Slovakian there in 4th, Alp the out on top, Cucumber in 2nd, Nathan there in 3rd. I think that is the end of qualifying, barring any last changes. That is the end of qualifying, because everyone's invalid further down the field. Alp out on top, Cucumber 2nd, Nathan in 3rd, and Primoz Miklevich is there in 4th.
I feel sorry for the lad if it's not Cookie. Yeah, I feel bad. I mean, interestingly, I'm having a little nose online as I do. There is not much in the way of the world when it comes to this chap at all. He looks to be a bit of a dab hand at GT7. So he's come up on a... Yes, that's the only place I'm getting any hits here, so this is making me even more suspicious. Even more suspicious, but there we go. I don't know.
Interesting. Hang on, I'm going to see if he's got a YouTube channel. We're literally just having to hunt for who Goals Falcon could be. And when I type in Goals Falcon 34 as PSN name, it doesn't come up with anything on YouTube. So it is a little bit weird, a little bit strange. It could just be ultimate trickery in terms of what we are seeing in terms of his name, who we are thinking he could be. Could just be a very nice lad at the end of the day. And the Slovakian, as you mentioned there in 4th, but out there, out on top, 7 tenths of a second, nearly clear of Cucumber. That is a big gap to have. Cucumber there in second, Nathan there in third, Falcon there in fourth, Campbell 0.003 of a second off him, actually got 1,000 of a second added to his time, so he goes there in fifth. Gary there in sixth, with Jensen there in seventh, a second, covering the top 10, in fact, with Yildirim, Izzat and Rick there 8th, 9th and 10th, Wouter in 11th, Verstappen in 12th, Rocco 13, Killer there down in 14th, J. Cole in 15th, Slush didn't get a really valid lap time in, 39 flat, ignore that one. Packer, Pease and Matthias, Packer in the end didn't get a valid lap time in. Pease and Matthias, however, didn't either. They had qualifying bans, and they're right down at the back of the field as we come now for the race. Montana there in the Jav, I should say, in the chat, saying Montana not in the chat. Maybe he's finally turned off ABS under a new name, Medium Pilot 2.0. Maybe so. Maybe so.
Maybe. So.
Or is he Ghost Falcon?
Or is he Ghost Falcon? This is taking me back to trying to search for certain people. Have a look. Ghost Falcon 34. Anyway, wish him luck regardless of who he is, because that was a good clutch lap at the end from him. So fair play.
Yeah, fair play indeed, as we now go, of course, from qualifying into the formation lap, which is going to be coming up very soon indeed. Get your predictions in the comment section for who you might think is going to be out on top in terms of pole position. Jav saying in the comments as well, seems if it's NSX Yell, so that is a name from the past, certainly here in Liga Group, and certainly from the NSX. Wow, I'm flummoxed. Okay. Alp, set of mediums, Verstappen set of softs. Verstappen, I think, has to try and change a bit of strategy further down the field. Alp on a set of mediums, everyone else on a set of hards, Verstappen on a set of... I'm absolutely flummoxed in terms of that strategy call. He's... Unless he can't be putting in, what, lap 11, lap 12 for set of hards? Surely not.
No, I think you could. I mean, the mediums can go fairly long. They won't feel great, but the mediums can go long, so I can imagine this, and they go to about lap 20 if you really like just drove until they burst. So, it wouldn't surprise me if people did soft hard here actually, but I don't like it because of the overheating aspect. But it's not a terrible idea potentially here of all places. You can definitely do soft hard. We've had a collision at the back with Packer and Pease. So they're going to be starting on cold tyres. So Matthias is going to be happy with that.
I think they'd both be happy with that, potentially. They're down in 17th and 18th position. Matthias there in 19th as well is getting warmer tyres compared to the guys ahead, so I mean, he might have to jump potentially down in towards turn number one. Of course, scenes where we saw Verstappen absolutely obliterate, I think it was Sebastian Vettel, in the end here in 2017 under a wet start. No wet start, of course, here in Singapore tonight, and we are under the impression that there's going to be a dry race as well. Out on top, Cucumber there in second, Nathan there in third. 31 laps, of course, right now. A driver's out on track. Gary to be P2 by the end of lap 1 is an interesting prediction by Jav. Could be an interesting one from Gary's perspective. He has got Campbell there ahead of him. Championship protagonist. He's just cut the inside of turn 22 there. Or turn 21, I should say. But Campbell there in 5th. Sally not here. Big golden opportunity for Campbell to try and land some very good points. The gap is 23 points. Campbell ideally needs to take the race win. Otherwise, he is in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, and the pressure got to him on that last run. He had second in the bag, and you've got to rate. Oh God, J. Cole's doing some burnouts to the back. And you've got to think with Alp on pole, if you get second, you're probably going into turn one in first.
Where is Wouter positioned in terms of his grid box? That is so far to the left-hand side of the grid box. It's doing Fernando Alonso an injustice. 5 red lights are going out here in Singapore, and it is lights out away we go, and slow off the start is Alp, and Cucumber's already through in towards turn 1, and so is Nathan. Absolutely abysmal start from Alp, and he's now down in 3rd position coming through turn number 1. I think everyone's clean through safely. There's a spinner in the back, but no, that's Verstappen round and a set of softs. So Verstappen round and a set of softs has spun. There's also carnage for midfield. I think Slash and Killer were side by side there, coming out of turn number 3. But Cucumber leads off the line from Nathan there in second, Alp there in third, and now the medium's coming into play as Nathan has passed there by Alp to the inside line and gets the job done. So these are the mediums coming now into play. Campbell there through and he's into third. Tactical from Nathan at the start. Gary there in fifth. Falcon there in sixth. Side by side with Jensen, who has had a very good start actually in this race. Coming to the inside of turn number 8 now and into the left-hander of turn number 9 at Penang. But Jansen trying to go all the way around the outside. Has he got potential damage on the car? The two Williamses now are trying to fight in towards the Singapore Sling. Wouter up the inside line of him. Might just put him out to the outside line. Jensen now has to come across to defend. Wouter's still there and gets the job done. And Jensen, I think, has got damage potentially. Left side end plate, I think, on the car. Might be missing a winglet. He is dropping down the field completely. Cucumber leads the way. Alp in second. Campbell there in third. Great stop by Cucumber. Alcott wanting off the start. Has pulled now Campbell, second now to Campbell. Nathan there in fourth. Good start from him. But Jensen now dropping all the way down the field. 10th position. He has not had a good first lap.
No, it started off right and then it gradually got worse. Now, Alp actually ran really wide out of turn 2. So there is a small chance. I don't think he does have damage, but it was really, really wide. And but he is flying away from Campbell, so you've got to think that he's fine. But I think he started on those mediums to try and get as good of a start as possible and not get overtaken, and it's not worked.
Yeah, it hasn't worked indeed as pit stops being made further down the field. Rick, Matthias and Verstappen have all into the pit lane at the end of lap 1 as Yildirim is through on Ghost Falcon. Ghost Falcon there down in 7th position. Primal's doing a good job there in 7th, and he's got the Singaporean of his right on the back of him, actually running down the Mistral Straight, running down Raffles Boulevard, down into a Memorial Corner at turn number 7. Right there on the back of him in there for the Williams team as well. Williams are doing a good job in the constructors as well, so they need as many points as possible out of this race. Funky Chicken saying he's not teleporting all over, so can't be me, as Chicken has mentioned to Ghost Falcon, I think, and that just deepens the intrigue a little bit further in terms of his real identity. But Cucumber leading the way from Alp there in second. Alp not applying pressure to Cucumber early on. Cucumber 75% of ERS, of course, with that very fortunate win in Mexico as he goes too deep there in towards 13. Alp there gets a better exit on the exit of the corner. However, Campbell, Nathan, 3rd and 4th have been wanted for pace a little bit at this early stage. Normally around this track though, Mark, Campbell, Nathan, 1.2 seconds isn't the end of the deal for them. They're on that set of hards, Alp on a set of mediums. If I was in Alp shoes, I'd try and figure out a way to try and get past Cucumber sooner rather than later. So the pressure really is ideally off me when it comes to pit stops.
Yeah, 100%. And another thing that comes in here as well is that the gaps can get quite big. It's a driver's track. It's not too easy to follow in DRS, so the gaps will appear, particularly once the ERS goes down, because this is a really hard track to recover ERS as well, which is something we haven't really touched on as Alp. I'm surprised Alp isn't getting any warnings in turn 1. He seems to take so much of the curb, and he's pushing. I think he wants to get past Cucumber here.
Yeah, Cucumber as well, teleporting a little bit, coming through the corners, just lagging there slightly, and again down the straight. I don't think Alp is going to be close enough this time around. Didn't turn off the ERS, it could have been a little bit different story. I think he still would have been too far back, but Cucumber leading the way, out there in second, doing a good job currently, these guys. The Ferraris have got to think now, plan B, I think, in terms of whatever their plan B might be. Campbell and Nathan will be talking to each other in the party. They're in 3rd and 4th, doing a good job. Campbell does not have the pace, though, compared to Nathan. If I was in the Ferrari shoes right now, I'd think about swapping the pair of them, because Nathan there in 4th has got more ERS, Campbell there on 51%, might have the pace early on. Nathan, though, looks like he's got the pace coming through this middle sector, and this is crucial now for Nathan as he, as I say that, he just locks up in towards turn number 13 and now loses about 0.2 of a second. Campbell there in 3rd, Nathan there in 4th, doing a good job, but I'd honestly think about at this early stage where DRS trains are inevitable around this track. If I was in as Gary has a huge mistake in the background, well recovered, the Irishman just about stays 5th and all of that as well, and Cucumber has let Alp through. Interesting. Alp leading the way, Cucumber in 2nd. I'm not sure if Cucumber went too deep there. I don't think he did. I think that was tactical from the Canadian there.
Would be quite odd in a way, but I don't blame it, because he can just he should be able to stick on the back of him. But here's one for you. Pease, Packer, and Valter all are under fueling, and this is not a track you can recover. You lose fuel. One of the few in this game that you lose a lot of fuel, and it will be interesting. They're going to need a safety car, or they could have their race really compromised.
Yeah, definitely so. And Gary again, very sideways there, coming out of turn number 5. Yildirim is eking a bit closer down into Memorial Corner. Not going to be quite close enough though at this early stage in Singapore. Lap 4 out of 31. Packer, by the way, I think got ahead of Pease around the outside of turn number 18 2 laps ago. Pease came back at him around the same part of the track, so Pease got ahead coming through turn 17 on the exit. Packer there in 15th position through turn 18, dropped down, and J. Cole now is all of a sudden on the back of these guys as well, further down at the back of the field. But Alp now beginning to apply that pressure, and the danger was with Cucumber. If that was a legitimate mistake, it's now telling, because he's 8 tenths away from Alp. He's just about out of slipstream range. He's nearly out of DRS range there as well. And Cucumber's having to use a lot more ERS to try and gain on Alp, running down into Memorial Corner as Yildirim tries to force the inside on, and Gary, that might be a bump to pass. If he doesn't get the move done, I think he'll be very intrigued to not get that move done, and indeed he doesn't. So Yildirim there in 6th, Gary there in 5th, doing a good job, the Irishman. Almost looked like a bump and run there from Yildirim, but the relentless man on the back of the KVO man and doing a good job, they both are.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a train forming. There's almost a second race going on now behind Gary, because Yildirim is on his back and got a few fair people with him, as Ghost Falcon is the first man to pick up a penalty.
Primoz not confirmed, I don't think now. That 3-second penalty. Primoz, I don't think normally picks up 3-second penalties around here, but I could be wrong.
It would be unlike him. It would be unlike him, to be fair.
It would. Primoz 2.0 then from Ghost Falcon there in 7th. Yildirim on the back of Gary. Is he going to look for the move down in towards Memorial Corner? He is closing in, but that lack of ERS is telling in the second half of the straight, and Gary holds P5. Yildirim there in 6th. Doing a good job. He has a good pace around the track, and he's gone cascading into the back of Gary. That's going to cause a car park as well, coming in behind. Luckily, Izzat just gets chopped off there to try and get through. Everyone biding their time. Nobody losing or gaining positions there out of all of that, but look at the gap it's cost them. Gary there 4.2 seconds behind Nathan. It was more like 2 seconds. So Gary now on the back foot as a result of Yildirim absolutely rear-ended them to the new Oblivion and perhaps to the border crossing.
Oh, he nearly did it again. Blimey, but fair play to Yildirim. He actually let him through, as Ghost is going to have a run. Yeah, he's going to have a run. Oh no!
It gets hemmed in on the wall, and nearly again through 10-14. Yildirim just about hanging on. There are places really to do the move. I don't think that was one of them, to be honest, from Ghost Falcon's perspective. But then again, Yildirim, he's got every right to that entitlement for that position. But then he forces him just left on side of the literally left lateral movement towards the wall. Doesn't really stick well with me. It is a very tight track. It's a street track at the end of the day. And like Jolyon Palmer once said around Monaco, of course, you have got to be street aware. And Ghost Falcon there in 7th was street aware to the fact that Yildirim nearly put him in the wall.
Yeah, it wasn't great. It was very clumsy. But Ghost Falcon's got a lot of errs, so he's going to want to use it. His gearing is very strange to me. Revs out a lot of the lower to middle gears more than I've ever seen anyone.
Yeah, doing like Sebo gears, I think, potentially down round through Raffles Boulevard into a Memorial Corner. He looks to the inside line, does the Slovakian, but he is still on the back of Yildirim. Slovakia, of course, are not in the Eurovision Song Contest this year. If he was Slovenian, however, then potentially he would have been having Carpe Diem out on track. But Ghost Falcon there in 7th, is up there in 8th, doing a good job. Out, by the way, because we haven't been covering the action out in front, Cucumber, that must have been a legit mistake from him, because he's now 1.9, nearly 2 seconds behind on Alp there in the lead of this race. Alp now begin to fly away. He has got pretty much limited EOS as well, 27%, 21% for Cucumber there in 2nd. Killer is looking interesting as well. On the back of Slash for 12th and 13th, the final point scoring positions out on track of the straight. And with that Gary Yildirim incident, it has backed all of these guys up under a big old DRS train. And this could get quite messy if, and only if, drivers begin to get a bit impatient, which around this track is pretty much inevitable.
Well, yeah, and Alp's going to be looking behind thinking, if a safety car comes out now, he's golden. So he goes on those hards, he's got no problem. And he will be absolutely golden as...
Oh, Oh, Yildirim spun! Yildirim
No.
goes for a spin, coming out of turn 21. He's going to have to wait until this train goes through. Ghost Falcon has also gone for a spin, I think, through the final corner. He's actually in the pits. So Ghost Falcon into the pit lane. Yildirim no front wing, recovers the car, but he's into the pit lane. And I'm assuming this might be retirement from the Relentless Man. Into the pit lane he comes. At least he doesn't do a Schumacher and crashes into the pit lane. And he retires at least in the pit lane. Unlike Schumacher and PSG F2, who crashed into the pit box. In the pit entry on lap 27, I think it was, caused a safety car, and then all hell broke loose. So at least he's not like him.
Yeah, that's pretty deplorable. But yeah, Nathan and Campbell will be very happy in a way. Maybe a bit bored, but very happy. You know, I think Campbell would actually not mind picking up 15 points here. If I'm honest, Alpen's Cucumber look in a different stratosphere, but Cucumber, the one thing I'll say for Cucumber is, I don't think he'll necessarily mind being this far back on those tyres compared to Alps at this point. I think Alp has got his back against the wall a bit from not being able to get a run straight away in the first few laps. So I think Cucumber will be quite happy with this.
Yeah, I mean, 2.5 tenths is the gap, and I think pretty much the timing difference as well. It was 1.9 last time around, so Alp to my end is certainly pulling away, what, half a second a lap, I think, on Cucumber, pretty much. And Cucumber there, he has got, what is worrying for me, he's got less ERS than Alp. And if I was in Cucumber shoes, I'd be trying to lift and coast, going down in towards the likes of turn number 1, the likes of through turn number 5 as well. Just to lift and coast, gain a bit of that battery back. Aston Martin doesn't seem worried about that at the stage, but when it comes to longer term strategy call, he is going to be on the quicker side towards the end of the race. He can go further in the race. The overcut is more powerful than the undercut around here sometimes as well. So all of that in his favour. Alp pulling away, I think, is just looking in a different class at this stage. And for my end, certainly, I think Alp is probably on to win this race, even at this early stage in lap 8 out of 31. Peas, however, on the back of Killer, are we finally going to see an overtake to the inside line, running down Raffles Boulevard into a Memorial corner. The Haas pulls alongside on the Red Bull. Red Bull hangs him out to dry on the inside curb. Peas put himself there, to be honest, and Killer remains in 11th.
Yeah, lots of space being given there. Actually, that was quite surprising how nice they were to each other. Good to see, but Pease is going to have to go again.
Yeah, definitely so. Packer there in 13th, J. Cullen 14th on the back of that train as well. All spawning from the Singaporean in 6th, and that is Izzat. These big position gains, the position gains, by the way, in this race. 6 positions gained for Slash, 6 positions gained for Peas. That's from 18th and 16th positions, respectively. Router has gained 4. Rocco, by the way, has gone under the radar, I think, in this race. He's there in 9th. Of course, famously made that 3 wide in towards turn number 1 in the F2 race around here, which I commentated on very famously. Rocco there in 9th, doing a great job. The Brit trying to now be gapped by Jensen, and Jensen all of a sudden looks like he's in a little bit of a groove at this stage. And I normally say this, and then he normally spins and then crashes out of the race, or ends up in the wall, or ends up vice versa and going into the pit lane and then retiring in the pits. Jensen, though, at this moment in time, I don't want to curse him, it looks as if he's back in the groove. He is beginning to pull away from Rocco. Rocco's pulling away from the Slash. This break is now happening within the big old DRS train, and Jensen is not too far off the back of the 2 Williamses. So from my perspective, Jensen, I think, will be happy currently in P8, trying to attack Router and Izzat. 35% of ERS, more ERS in fact than Izzat, certainly. Jensen is there in this fight, and he has got a little bit of pace about him. I'm not saying he's going to be Alp Cucumber sort of pace, but it looks like he's reclaiming some of that pace as Pease looks the inside line in the background of shot and gets the move done into a Memorial corner, through Raffles Boulevard, down into a Memorial corner. Pease now ahead of Killer. Killer opted to go for the inside, on the outside line. Pease went for the inside line, and Pease in the end is through, and he's into 11th, and he'll be very appeased with that.
I'll tell you another factor that's going to come into play is just the level of ERS. It's so hard to recover, as we mentioned. There's a few guys that are already spent on it, and a few guys have got at least half, which is really going to come into play for them. But what is the pick delta here? Because one thing I'm noticing is obviously Rick got out ahead of Ghost Falcon, and Rick had a very early spin. But Rick, I think, actually could well come out in the middle of this pack, if not towards the front of it. Even with the wing change, he seems to be gaining on everybody.
Yeah, I think the pit stops around here, it's something like 20... It's anywhere between 22 and 24 seconds, I think. It is one of the quicker pit lanes when it comes to a street track. And with that being said, I think, yeah, Rick in 15th is ahead of Ghost Falcon. Ghost Falcon, however, bit of a caveat that I forgot to mention a little bit earlier on. He had a front wing change, so he actually nicked his front wing somewhere out on track on his lap, and then came in the pit lane on what, lap 7, lap 8. So Ghost Falcon had that front wing damage, carried on with it, I think, for a lap, and then decided to come in the pit lane. That is why he's behind. But now look at the gap beginning to close down from the Slovakians' intrigue. Rick there in 15th is getting caught. P's there now on the back of Slash. Not for long, because Slash is spun, coming out of turn number 5, and Pease gets P10 without really having taken the position off him. Slash there down in 14th, has a spin, easy to do around this track. I was about to say as well, I thought he had left side end plate damage on the car. He doesn't have damage though, still, and he's gone for another spin, coming out of turn number 7 at Memorial Corner. If he doesn't have damage now, I'd be very, very surprised.
Yeah, Alp will be looking back at those yellow markers, hoping for a safety car, because it would make his life even easier. I don't mean he needs an easy life, but it would certainly become very easy if one come out at any point now in the next couple of laps. Slash has got round again. He's having a nightmare. Just needs to stay on the lead lap. Nathan.
Oh! Nathan's crashed out of 14! Nathan has crashed out at turn 14, and there's a safety car that wanted. And then as a spin on the outside curb, I think coming out of turn 14, what I think he's done is probably caught the inside curb, then tried to recover the car, and he's put basically what the floor is on the curb. He's took the outside curb, and then he's gone, literally snapped it into the wall. That's what I think's happened there from Nathan. Out into the pit lane, perfect from his perspective. Cucumber, Campbell, Gary, all under set of medium compound. Gary stays out.
Great move.
Yeah, that's not a bad move, but did he cross over the white line before he actually went to go out for another lap? I think he did. So that could be a bit indecisive. The camera angle was a bit panned, but from where his position was out on track, I'm pretty sure he was within the white lines, and then he's opted to come out of those white lines to go for another lap. I think it's minimal. It is minimal. As I say, I couldn't really catch that on the camera angle, but leaves him in the lead of the race. Stewards might want to have a look at that, though, because I'm pretty sure he crossed the white line for being very indecisive there.
Ghost Falcon is bombing it. He's going for it. And where does he come out?
Side by side with Wouter. And Wouter's ahead of him. Wouter is ahead of him, but not before a bit of contact.
Yeah, it was so close. Obviously, the pit lane isn't part of the racetrack, as Sebastian Vettel once famously established. And Ghost Falcon doing very clever, I feel. I think he's done well there to get himself up to 10th. But Gary is leading this race, and I tell you what, he's just going to want another one. That's all he wants. He just wants another one. In 7 or 8 laps time. That's all he wants. He wants to just go on those softs, I think. I think he wants to... It's a brave call. It's a very brave call.
To be honest, I think as Slash, by the way, has gone for a spin again, coming through turn number 5, and that set of medium compound tyres. Clearly not in control of that McLaren at this stage. Nathan has left the session. Thank him, though, for attending after that spin, of course, out of turn 14. But Gary leading the way from out there in second. I don't think Gary would be too displeased, to be honest, if there was a safety car in, 2 or 3 laps time when we got back racing going again, because him on that set of hards, yeah, he's going to be further down the field. If there's another safety car in the late stage of this race, however, and he's on the fresher tyres, that's going to look like a bit of a master call, I think, from Gary, if there is another safety car.
100%. 100%. This is it, but it's going to be tough going for him. It's going to be real tough going for him to keep it. To keep the places initially, especially with the kind of caliber of people behind him. Everyone in the top 6 they are not going to be slow. And Rick is in a fantastic spot. I genuinely think, look how that's worked out for Rick. You know, the early spin, yes, he won't have loved it, but he will be very happy he's on these hards. What's going on here?
What has happened here? Packer back in, set of mediums, J Call in, set of hards, Pillar in, set of hards.
I see what they've done.
Fresher set of hards. They've got an extra set.
Yeah, it's a clever play.
Ooh, it's pit entry, pit exits, by the way. If they aren't getting covered, Killer's just obliterated twice coming out the pit lane. I know pit entries are very unforgiving around here in Singapore. Slash retires into the pit lane, but Killer certainly crossed the white line there twice. Normally in a different league, that will be a guaranteed 5-second penalty and a slap on the wrist, I think, for Killer, because League of Europe doesn't really cover the pit lane and the pit lane and the pit lane entries and exits. Killer's probably got away with that.
Yeah, most probably. Most probably, it's a horrible pit exit here. To be fair, it's the one that I can imagine most leniency anyway. As long as you're not avidly trying to gain an advantage, which he certainly won't have gained anything by doing it. But yeah, maybe they look at it. I'm not sure. But really, I'm amazed some of the medium guys. What's really funny is Cucumber couldn't do what Killer and Jaco did because he'd lose too many places to go back onto those hards because the snake had already kind of caught up. So the guys in front aren't going to be loving being on those mediums. They will get to the end. They wear roughly about 3% a lap. I can't see there being any issues with puncturing, but they won't be fast. They're going to be slow. So they won't be loving it. Alp will be. I mean, if there's not another safety car, Alp should win this at a canter if he can get past the first few laps. But fortunately for him, it will be a rolling start, not a standing start.
Yeah, very fortunate for him, because obviously after his standing start a little bit earlier on, that's why he opted to go for the set of mediums. I guarantee it, because he doesn't have really strong starts. Verstappen is into the pit lane. He's going to go, I think, set of hard compound tyres as well. Is this for a set of mediums? Let's have a look. Into the pit box, kills one of the McLaren mechanics, into the pit lane. Set of mediums goes on, and he's coming out of the pit lane behind Mathidges. So Mathidges there in 15th. Verstappen there in 16th. That is a little bit of a running joke. I used to call him Mathidges there in 15th. Verstappen there in 16th, coming out of the pit lane as well. And he is going to be well behind. But the safety car, I'm assuming, is going to be coming in this lap. If it does, then of course Gary will be that virtual Berm Islander. He will be the virtual safety car. You'll bring there saying, sorry for retiring, but this track is so ass and my setup. And combination of them both, clearly Yildirim out of the race early on. Nathan complaining as well, probably, I'm sure, somewhere about his spin through turn 14. But Gary, Alp and Cucumber currently in the top three, that 13 out of 31 in what is going to be, hopefully, not as long a race as what we hope. But I have a feeling, judging by the race with distance in, we're going to literally hotfoot it off the stream, I think, so we can get Division 2 and Division 4 live, which would be the fairest thing for everyone, I think.
Well, that would be lovely, but it's fine. I don't have much high hopes later. I'll just chill. And yeah, JDN Nolan, as we know him, he called the strategy plan. Just want to have a big shout out to Verstappen here. He was giving Matthias stick earlier in the week, saying that you've got your license points. This will decrease your chances of getting another 13th place this season. Well, you're behind the man, and he's in 15th, and you're in 16th, so...
And to be fair as well, with the set of hards that are ahead of them, they could well end up around 13th position as well, judging by Rick Killer and Jacob, especially if those hards do not come online early on. Gary, the virtual Berm Islander, he really wants to get on with things. Alp, however, does not. Alp literally putting the park the bus on, coming through the grandstand there at turn 18 and 19. But Gary now, in the Red Bull, backing everyone up through 21. I think he'll go around about now, and he does. Gary in towards turns 22 and 23. We're back under green flag racing, but Alp has been caught napping, even off a rolling stone. Look at Cucumber. Cucumber looks to the inside on immediately in towards turn number 1, and this could end in tears for them both if they're not careful. Cucumber looks to the inside line, tries to get the job done, but in the end, Alp holds to second. Cucumber there in third. Oh, no. Campbell there in fourth, and Campbell's round. No. Campbell is round. He spins and gets caught up there with Cucumber. Cucumber round as well. Campbell, I think, might have got damage and all that as well, but Gary leads the way. Alp in second, Jensen there in third, and Jensen all of a sudden is onto a podium position. Absolutely misfortunes there for Campbell. In the end, I don't think he's got any front wing damage. Let's have a look. Coming through turn number 4, he has left side end plate damage on the car, I think, with one end plate. No end plates missing, but I think one winglet is certainly missing, and Campbell nearly goes into the wall again. The Scotsman very much under pressure, and he needs points. Cucumber, however, got bullied basically by Campbell through turn 3, and Campbell escapes up the road. Cucumber there in 15th, and Packer, with that 5-second penalty for ignoring the yellow flag as well, is down in 14. Gary the leads, Alp in second, and Alp is still not getting past on Gary.
Oh, is that?
Oh! Who was that in the wall?
Walter went into the back of Campbell as a result of Izzat's massive spin, and now Walter's got the run on Izzat.
Oh my word. A little bit sketchy. I thought somebody ran in the wall there, honestly. from the way the camera angle just panned away, I thought someone went in the wall. And it looked to me as actually it was Killer more than anyone else, but I think it was the Williamses, so good play there from yourself. Izzat there in 6th, Brighton now in 7th, Campbell there in 8th, and Campbell all of a sudden again, Izzat's all over the shop. The Singaporean, it's his home track, but he has not taken this. He should know this track ideally by the back of the hand. He doesn't, and Izzat there in 6th is now backing up Wouter, backing up Campbell, and Ghost Falcon, our Primoz 2.0, is there in 9th.
Yeah, Izzat's in danger of getting booted out of the points like Singapore got booted out of Malaysia in the 60s. But it's which is a fun story. Look it up.
Alp's catching on Gary, but he's not quick enough to the inside line now, in towards turn 7. I think he's going to get away with it, and he does. He gets the job done, and now Jensen's got a phenomenal run on the back of Gary in towards turn break now. A Cornort tries to get the job done. I think it's not through Cornort. In fact, it's through Stamford at turn number 8. Out there leads Gary in 2nd, Jensen in 3rd. Perfect for Alp now. He can escape up the road. Not so perfect for Jensen.
Keep an eye on Rick. Rick down in 10th on those hards. They're not the best tyre right now, but if he can keep Killer behind him, who's also on the hards, those three are going to be a bit of a chain gang. And they're going to want to keep in touch with the mediums when they go off. Because they will. They definitely will go off.
Here comes Jensen on the back of Gary. Shooty looks to the inside line. Is Gary going to fight this? No, Jensen's gone deep. He's gone way too deep. He's in the wall. He is in the wall. And everything was going according to plan. He is going to be swearing at himself for that one. Left side end plate damage on the car. And Jensen there down in 15th. I thought Tom had back the Shazoo man. I thought he had bad luck. Jensen's got even worse luck here in Singapore and in league racing in general. Down in 15. That's going to be him out the race, I guarantee it. Out there leads the way. Gary in 2nd, and Rocco now all of a sudden is on the back of Gary through the final 2 corners once again. Jensen though in the wall, 15th position, cannot catch a break.
Well, that's the problem. He did catch a break and then he locked up, and that was the problem, I think. But Gary, Jensen's retired. Gary versus Rocco. Let's just enjoy this. This will be tasty.
Rocco, the inside line. I don't think it's Gary gonna have to defend this. Rocco pulls alongside, easy in the end from Rocco. The Brit through, and he's into 2nd, gets ahead of the Irishman, and hopefully the Du Sport coming the way in the Eurovision Song Contest later on in the year. But Rocco there in 2nd, Gary there in 3rd, Pease there in 4th, and now Pease all of a sudden said he wanted this track being thrown off the calendar about an hour ago, and look where he is now. He's in 4th, in contention, fluking his way potentially to a podium, doing a fantastic job. What's all the fuss about?
Yeah, he's in a net podium because Gary obviously is still having to pit. So is that looked like he's made contact there from behind, right on board with Pease. He got kind of jerked forward slightly. He's desperate to get past Gary, even more so when you start getting contact from behind. You know that's a point where you think, right, I've got to get past.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of a Constantino effect with the 2 Williamses in behind as well. Izzat there and Wouter. I think Wouter was deep on the brakes, went into the back of Izzat. Izzat then collided into the back of Pease, just unsettled the car slightly. Nothing really in that, to be honest. It's just racing around here in Singapore. Out though leading the way by 1.9 seconds. Rocco is beginning to catch on that set of mediums, but his set of mediums are going to be worn toward the end of the race, as will the same with Pease and Izzat and all the likes as well. And speaking of Pease, gets a phenomenal run out of the final 2 corners, easy as you like from Pease, gets the job done. Into turn number 1 he goes, into P3 he goes as well, very nicely done. Verstappen on the back of J. Cole, further in the background, a shot as well was on the back of him. Cucumber still on his way there, coming through the corners, and now Izzat all of a sudden Gary making a mistake, coming out of turn number 4, and his snaps on that, and the Singaporean through, and he's into 4th, and not for too long. It's going to be now down to P6 for Gary, because Wouter to the outer line through the kink, gets the job done, and he's through, and he's into 5th, and Gary is dropping through the field like a stone dropping through water and hitting a duck on the backside.
Yeah, it's not quite worked. He needs to hold position because he's after a safety car where everyone will pit. So it's imperative that he kind of keeps at least somewhere in the top 10 at this point. Yeah,
and Campbell now all of a sudden is on the back of him. The battle of the Gaelics, it seems. Add to that a Slovakian potential F1 Esports Challengers man and P8, and then you've got a very tasty battle between them both. But Campbell now pulls to the outside line. Gary is not going to fight this, I don't think, and Campbell is through and he's into 7th, and that was a little bit easier. Wall the rolls and all of that, but Campbell there through and he's into 6th. Gary there in 7th, goes Falcon there in 8th, and now Rick on the back as well. Finland, of course, becoming the latest NATO member, I think the 33rd NATO member, of course, in real life. And Rick will be looking to try and defend his territory and his position from Killer, just like he's defending territory and position in real life.
Yes, indeed, but always we have Gary in. Yeah, Gary's fought better of it. I don't blame him there. Rick will be very pleased to see that.
It's Verstappen. Inside line at turn number 1. Verstappen gets the job done. Through and he's into 9th. Oh, and Killer might come back at him. Not quite. Verstappen's through.
Great move. Rick will be pleased to see Gary go in because the danger now is he's going to lose touch with those mediums. Yes, he'll have the better tyres towards the end of the race, but they're going to just start disappearing up the road now. So his podium chances are getting thinner and thinner as a result of Gary not being able to defend his position.
Yeah, definitely so. Packer there on the back as well. Jacob was having a slight half look in towards turn number 7 at Memorial Corner. Now through turn number 8 at Stamford. Jensen has left the session and pretty much absolute disgust. I'm absolutely guaranteed of that. Matthias, by the way, still going in 15. The amount of DNFs that we're having in this race, we've only had 4 so far. If we do pick up in the second half of the race and there is more crashes, more DNFs, Matthias could be on his way to a point scoring finish. And talk about a fluke. That would be an utter fluke.
Yeah. Let's be honest. Don't want to dress it up. He lost it under the restart, actually. And, yeah, it's just not been one to remember for him. But he could still get something out of it. This is the beauty of this long race and a street circuit, really.
Oh. As I'm half yawning there, you just caught me in a half yawn. I'll leading the way, Rocco in second, P's there in third. I'm sitting very much next to a very hot radiator at this stage, and it is making me very, very tired indeed. It's not because the action on track is making me very, very tired either, but it could be that. I'll add on top. Rocco there in second, and now the hard's beginning to come into play compared to Rocco in that set of mediums. 2.3 seconds now the gap. Gap is only going to increase, I think, from this point onwards. Cucumber now on the back of Packer, looking towards the inside line. It's not close enough this time around, but Cucumber, after that mistake, has really not gone anywhere in this race. The Canadian got ahead of what? I think it was Ghost Falcon. Falcon in the end, because of the held-up and the pit stops as the tyres have spun, coming through turn 14. I think he's got the car back going again, but Cucumber has really made no inroads in this race whatsoever. The Canadian now on the back of the American, then battle of the North Americans in Singapore, on the run there down and towards turn 7 at Memorial Corner, but it's the American who comes out on top, the military might there of the American in front in the Alpine in a French car. Cucumber there in the Aston Martin in a British car, or formerly an Indian car, however you look at it. But Cucumber there in 13th on the back of Packer, and the battle of the North Americans as well, and truly on for the final point scoring position as our friend Primoz has picked up for the re-second penalty in 7th.
Yeah, maybe he's rusty, who knows, but Cucumber, he's on the back of Packer, sends it. Wow, what a send. That is...
Doesn't get it.
Just, yeah, Packer left him enough space. That was really good racing, and unfortunately, it compromised Cucumber's exit, so it didn't really have the desired effect. But he's in a good spot, Cucumber, considering...
God!
That spot was nearly the wall, as I said that. I'll try not to say he's in a good spot. But it is a former Irish car, let's not forget. This has Jordan DNA coursing through its veins, to quote a former Minardi quote. So I kind of always root for it a little bit more than I should.
Yeah, Cucumber is doing a good job. I mean, to be fair, he's not going to be getting anywhere near the rest of the field, I think, unless there's a safety car. unless it comes late in the race and it really spices everything up, or we get a bit of rain, Cucumber's not going to be making much inroads really in this race. Somebody that is making inroads a little bit is Pease on the back of Rocco. Rocco has taken his tyres way too heavy, I think, in this early stage, and if he really thinks he's going to get to the end of the lap on what, 21 lap old mediums, he has got another thing coming, because if he's already getting worn tyres now, what's it going to be like come the end of the race? They're going to be, what, maybe 90% worn towards the end? Cucumber again?
Yeah, they could. It depends on tyre pressures, but they could get there.
Ooh!
Inside
line at turn 8. Doesn't get a job done. Cucumber's getting impatient, and his impatience is now telling.
Yeah, he's using where he had an advantage. He'll know he still has a small advantage because Packer started blinking at some point down Raffles Boulevard, but he just needs to. He needs to get this next one to work, or it's just going to get harder. But saying that, Packer is out of DRS, so maybe he might use this as an opportunity. He doesn't. I think that's wise.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think he's got any pace. I mean, to be fair, he was keeping up with Alp, but I think the DRS was really keeping him in it in the early stages. Again, a little bit of a tiny slide coming out of turn 14 there. Coming to 15, of course, the escape road through turn 15, 16, 17, that part of the track will be where they're going, of course, on the new game, which, of course, you will see. I'm sure League of Europe will be running the league on F1 23. I'm sure the plans have not been formalised just yet. I do know the release date, though. I have been told from a very, very well-known league owner in League Racing about the release date. People might know this already, but I'm not going to tell you because that'll just be breaking EA Codemasters rules. I'll probably get banned if that happens. But Alp leading the way, Rocco in second, Pease there in third. Probably guess though when the game is coming out. If you do want to take that educated guess, just leave it to yourself.
Well, you could especially couldn't tell us when you told us somewhat of a not very secretive source. That's probably easy to work out. It's normally out around my birthday. That's all I know.
And when is your birthday?
Mid-July. So it's not normally around about then.
All I'll say is it's earlier.
Oh wow! Okay. Interesting. That's good. Well, it depends on the game.
Yeah. It depends on the game. I mean, as Cucumber picks up a 3-second penalty. Campbell, by the way, is looking for a move on Wouter. Wouter went deep there in towards 13, but the Scotsman is going to try and get on the back of Wouter at this stage. Might lunge it to the inside line. Just nearly risked it there. Scotsman needs to try and get the job done. Wouter there in 5th, Campbell there in 6th. Yulgrim there saying which date, mid-July. I will say, with confidence, and I do know the release date, and I'm not going to tell you, no matter how hard you push me on the stream, it is not mid-July, and in fact, it's actually not in July.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
So take from that what you will.
Fair play. Well... oh, interesting. I'll have to... oh, dear. I have to get it myself then. I can't even get it for my birthday like I normally do. That sucks. There we go. Anyway.
I mean, you could be like a month late potentially in terms of getting back up to speed in terms of when the game could come out. And if that's not a big indication of when the game is going to be coming out, I don't know what is. Alp though, back to the action, leads the way from Rocco in second, 3.7 seconds the gap from Pease there in third, is at fourth, White to fifth, Campbell there in sixth, then goes Falcon seventh, Rickard eighth, Verstappen in ninth, Killer there in 10th, J. Cole Packer, Cucumber top 13, Gary and Matthias still going around in their own private squabble for who can take the most amount of track without getting lapped, I think, at this stage. Gary in 14th, Matthias there in 15th. Again, Cucumber on the back of Packer was looking for a move through turn number 8 there at Stamford, but now coming through turn number 9 at Penang on the run now down and towards the Singapore Sling. Cucumber again, he looks almost urging to try and get that move done, but the racer in him is probably thinking, no, I don't want to put my front wing down the inside of an American, as he, I was going to say, looks the inside line there, coming in towards 13. Packer has a spin, opportunity for Cucumber. This is a golden opportunity. Surely going to have to risk this around the outside. Cannot hang back any longer. Gets the switch back out of 14, gets the traction, but again, Packer, just on the exit, just fights and fights. And the American holding the Canadian at bay. This is good driving from Packer on a lap pressure tyres. Cucumber has a slight slider now, is on the back foot once again.
Yeah, I mean, this is just all over the... It's just very variable, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Rick, keep an eye on Rick, honestly, because that's when we're going to start to understand where these tyres are. Because they should be going any second, and Rick, if he starts catching Falcon, that's when we're going to know that...
Wouter's in the wall! Wouter in the wall has a huge moment coming out of turn number 3. Surely a safety car to VSC. VSC deployed out on track, and that I saw from Falcon's perspective. Campbell in the end was ahead of him. Wouter was ahead obviously of Campbell there. Campbell there was in 6th position. But what happened there basically was he got beautifully out of turn number 3, absolutely picture perfect out of turn number 3, and then just applied the throttle too much, pretty much mid-exit of the corner. Went in the wall, Wouter out the race, and then that puts Gary on perhaps the gradients of a potential podium, a potential point scoring finish. If he picked up a potential podium finish, then goodness me, Matthias Van Overen will be taking over his car, I think, at this stage. Alpdale leads the way, Rocco there in second, Pease there in third, Matthias into the pit lane. Do not blame the lad, he's into the pit lane. He'll be on for a set of, I'm assuming this will be a set of mediums. Yep, it's a set of yellow wall tyre. Matthias into the pit lane. Free pit stop on everyone else, and he, I think, was above hoping that it'll be turned into a full safety car. For him, it's not. But Virtual Bow Manager at the end of the pit lane is not getting out of the pit lane, and that's beautiful for Matthias, because he does come out of the pit lane, has got a free pit stop on everyone else now, but to what extent? Because actually he's put on a worn set of medium compound tyres, even though they're 2-lap mediums.
I'll tell you what, Alps... Hart would have skipped the beat there, because that would have just thrown everything into a little bit of chaos. But it does allow those mediums to just cool down a bit. The wear's not going to be as much, and it does mean the hards cool down a bit. So Rick's losing a bit of time on the back of Ghost now.
Yeah, definitely, and Pease as well on the back of Rocco. Rocco had a very good restart, by the way, underneath that VSC. He's pulled 0.8 of a second on Pease, and now Pease is on the back foot all of a sudden. Rocco doing a good job out on track, this battle for second. Rocco, I don't know how, has got the podium out of this race, but I said earlier on, he has got form around this track. He went 3 I remember in the F2 race that I covered, 2-3 years ago, I think now, on this game. And Rocco doing a good job. He's in second, has had good form around this track, and this time around, unlike what he did early on in the season where it was Austria and it was a bit of a fluke, Rocco in second at this stage is doing a phenomenal job, and this is honestly an underdog performance from him. He's been brilliant.
Unbelievable. I've got a slight... I do have a slight alternative theory as to who Ghost Falcon might be.
Go on.
I feel like we're being given purpose red herrings here. This gearing is so weird. This is like someone that doesn't play the new F1 games and has picked it up because it's cheap on Steam.
Oh, Cucumber is side by side with Packer coming around the outside of turn 15. This will be brilliant from that Cucumber to try and get the move done. But again, forced to the inside line of turn 16, cannot find a way through, and Cucumber, he must have tried about 5 times to get past Packer. Every single time Packer bounces back, defends willingly, for final point score and finish, and Cucumber's round. Cucumber is round. All of that effort. He resets the track as well. That is going to be a guaranteed slap on the wrist from the Canadian. And he is round. I get why he's done it. I get he's frustrated. No one was around him at the end of the time, at the end of the day, which is fine as well. But reset the track. If there was somebody there, potentially, that could have ended in big, big trouble. Gary, if he was 7 seconds closer, could have potentially ended up at the race.
Yeah, I have sympathy for it here to a degree. It's against the rules, so it is what it is. But it's very hard, particularly with rear wing damage now. It's very hard to manoeuvre your car without potentially giving yourself some bad damage. But you know what's interesting is, without the reset, Gary would probably be in a point scoring position now. So that's probably the argument as to not doing it. But yeah, Rick is catching Ghost. Rick is catching Ghost. And obviously, he's on more used tyres than those ahead of him. But I just wonder, and those tyres look bad. They look bad. Those rears, in particular, look awful. But I am starting to wonder if maybe this is someone that is a former racer from a long time ago. And I'll bring it up in the Discord. more than the race, because who knows? But I think this could be someone that used to race a very long time ago, going by their gearing, who was very successful.
Medium pilot?
No, long before that. Potentially, Mitch Emery is what I'm wondering.
Mitch Emery? Goodness me, I think he does Porsche Super Cup esports nowadays.
I know, but the game's got a lot cheaper on as an offer, and the name makes me wonder. But yeah, Izzat is still in position. I mean, we were kind of mocking him a bit because he had no pace early in this race, and he's the only one with a boatload of errors, other than Alp. From Campbell, Ghost actually does, in fairness, but he's going to go backwards quick. If he makes the end of this race, it will be really good tyre management.
Yeah, it would be indeed. Campbell there in fifth at this moment in time will be reducing the gap to 13 points as it stands. He'll be getting 10 points, of course, for that fifth position out on track. Matthias has just picked up a 3-second penalty. Nobody cares about him at the back of the field. 3-second penalty in 14. Still doing a good job, though. He's down there, the Dutchman, in 14. We do get a safety car at this stage in the race. Be ideal, I think, to try and spice up the action, and could give Alp something to worry about as well, with Rocco, Pease and Izzat right on the back of his tail as well, even though he would be on the fresher tyres towards the end of the race. Rick again on the back of Ghost, doing a good job at this stage. Ghost there a bit too deep into 14. Rick there on the back of him. The Finn taking on the Slovenian, not sure what nationality his flag is from, as Ghost now picked up another 3-second penalty. And if that was Mitch Emery, I think, in the Aston Martin right now, I honestly think he'll be taking the white lines rather than the curves and picking up 3-second penalties. Might just be inexperience. It was Campbell down the race! Campbell spins out the final corner to safety car as well! And Campbell, from 10 points to 0 in the space of 30 seconds, absolute scenes in Singapore. Gary comes in the pit lane and responds. He's the only one actually to come in, and we'll get a free pit stop on everyone else. This is surely for set of soft compound tyres from Gary's perspective. 5-6 laps will easily make it. It's a set of mediums. Set of mediums going... Oh, no, sorry, set of softs. I thought I saw the yellow wall for a second there. Gary, though, in the pits. Set of softs. Campbell out of the race. He was doing a phenomenal job, running there in P5. That corner catches people out in the worst possible occasions, and in the end, Campbell now out of the race. I was literally about to say, if a safety car came out, Matthias would be back in the contention. He's nearly a lap down on the rest of the field, but still, he's there in 13th. He could be on for point scoring finish now. Alp leading the way, Rocco in second, Pease in third. Campbell did so well up until that point, up until turn 23, and he's out of the race.
I think this is almost the most perfect time safety car, because you could conceivably at the front stay out, but it won't be fun. But what isn't Izzat going to stay out? Is a Rick going to stay out? Is a maybe not Rick? It's a bad example, but an Izzat or a Pease? Maybe.
I think they will. Killer. I'm looking at Ghost Falcon, honestly, to come in the pit lane, and maybe somebody like Killer J. Cole on that set of hards, just for a set of softs. We'll see what Alp is going to do. Alp's actually in the pits. So Alp is into the pit lane. There goes our call in terms of what we were saying there.
No, that doesn't surprise me at all, but does Rocco stay out? Yes. Yeah, see, this is what I think. Wow. Is that pit?
Is that in? Oh, Izzat's gone no from wing! Izzat's gone no from wing into the pit lane! What on earth has happened coming out of 22 and 23? Izzat in the pits, Ghost Falcon's in, Rick's in, Verstappen in, Packer's the one staying out. Interesting call by the American. Rocco now leads. Pease in second, Packer in third. Alp is now in fifth. Cucumber is now ahead of him. Cucumber is back in a potential race winning position, even with a reset to track, even with a potential 5-second penalty coming his way. Cucumber in fourth is now ahead of Alp. I honestly think if Alp was further down the field, he would be in trouble. Because he's in fifth, I think he's still going to win.
Wow. This is what I mean. It's almost perfectly timed, because we're going to get back... Well, Matthias
is miles behind. I don't think the safety car will wait for Matthias.
We might only have
2
3
laps.
laps. 2 laps. It's going to be 2 or 3, isn't it? It just depends how quick he gets round.
Yeah, it's a minimum 2 laps, and the safety car has just picked them up this lap, so we're going to get another lap over, which means Matthias on the other side of the track, unless he's got literally jet-propelled rear end, suspension, everything in the AlphaTauri, he's not going to be getting around before the safety car comes in the pit lane. Absolutely guaranteed. I would be very, very surprised if he does. If he does, he will latch back on right at the end when the safety car is coming in, and maybe if that happens. But, I mean, they're coming through turn 14 now. We've got 2 laps of racing to the checkered flag. No DRS for the final 2 laps as well. There goes Alp's advantage, potentially. He has got to rely on those softs being pretty much up to temperature on the get-go. If they're not, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
He's going to have to go some. No, yeah, there's going to be no... There will be none. There won't be one single lap, will there, if they don't come in now? So, no laps of DRS. Wow.
And Nolan, by the way, mentioned in the chat as well, another potential controversial thing to be added into this as well. Packer could get that 5-second penalty removed for speeding in the pits. Or for ignoring the yellow flag, I think it was.
Okay, yeah, he would have served 1. Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Does make sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That was when, I think it was when Slash had spun, if I'm not mistaken, off the last safety car restart, and he went round and obviously is there P3, 5-second penalty added on to his time at the end of the race. But he's going to defend for every position, and he's been defending off Cucumber for so long in this race. The last sight I think Packer will want to see is Cucumber right on the back of him right now. Out there in 5th is probably easier, because he will probably get past quicker compared to Packer. Cucumber in behind though, Packer and Cucumber get battling, Alp is in trouble.
Look where Matthias is, 13th.
13th?
Unbelievable. But he's going to struggle.
Is he going to catch? I think he could be okay. He's 36.9. They're coming down towards the Singapore Sling, the slow part of the track. This is going to be tight. I think he'll latch back on at some point, probably through the grandstand, 18 and 19. That chicane, I think he'll latch back on. And that's only if Rocco doesn't go until then. If Rocco doesn't go until then, Matthias has got a chance. If not, Matthias has got no chance getting back in. Looking at the rear right, though, the rear left, actually, of Rocco, with his very decent camera angle, actually looking through the tyre. The blistering not really occurring on Rocco's tyre. It's going through the middle of the tyre. It's the front left, I think, that it's worse on. Safety car is in this lap, and Rocco, now virtual Bermando, now virtual safety car, he has got to hope above hope that his tyres get to the end. Alpa's got to hope above hope, potentially, that everyone gets caught in carnage and he can just fly through the field. But that's not going to be easy with 2 laps to go.
It's going to be impossible, I think. I mean, he's on for 3rd. He's got a net 3rd in his hand. He's got Ghost behind him on a pen as well, but here we go. And Matthias, you were spot on. He's just about going to get there, isn't he?
He is. Rocco's backing them up on the grandstand. He'll be fine. He'll be coming, turn 18, turn 19. Exactly where I thought he might catch on to the back, and he has done that as well. But Rocco now, 2 laps to go. Buckle up. I don't know what's going to happen in these final 2 laps, but Rocco, setting the pace now, goes in towards turn 23 for the penultimate time. Now onto the penultimate lap of the race. Rocco there leads the way, but Alpa's already on the back of Cucumber. Looks the inside line, is already through on Cucumber before turn number 1. Job done for Alp. There's 1 out the way. Now Packer, the big worry potentially is Alan Killer get caught on each other through turn number 1. Alp though's got so much more pace, even too much more pace. Nearly spins coming out of turn number 3 on the exit. Packer there now has to try and give Alp the rear end to try and somehow fight off this move. Ghost Falcon through on Cucumber as well, but Alp having to try and go all the way around the outside on Packer. Tyres literally come into play here for Alp. He's forced off track. Packer though to the outside line will try and defend. He'll have the traction on the exit, but Alp has the traction on the inside, and he's through. Brilliant stuff by Alp. In the end, forced off track. However, that could be determined an illegal move, I think.
No, I would be very surprised. It's something very similar happened a couple of seasons ago, and I think because he was put out there, I'd be surprised. But
oh my word!
Out now. Oh, look at this!
Oh, outside of the hairpin through 10-13. Pease the re-rends him in the wall. Pease makes makes a mistake on the inside curb. Rocco's been handed this race win, maybe. This is unbelievable. Alp now on the back of Pease has to get this move done through 14. Round the outside he goes. Oh, and he does. Brilliant. Brilliant stuff. And Izzat's in the wall.
Oh, there's chaos. There's carnage. Rick. Verstappen.
Matthias is in the points. Matthias is in the points up to 9th. And Rick side by side with Gary, who's got no front wing, and he gets the job done. He's through and he's into 10th. But Rocco now leads the way. He's escaping up the road, the Brit. He's got the Turk American on the back of him. It looks like it's going to go one way. Rocco leads the way, 0.5 of a second. Alp is so quick on those softs. This is only going one way. This is Matthias Van Nerven-esque, even if it was in wet conditions. Goes Falcon out to the inside on a Packer. Gets the job done. He's up into 4th. Great move by the Aston Martin. Rocco, though, has to park the bus on Alp for one more lap, and then he's in the winner's enclosure once again.
Killer versus J. Cole for podium, and Killer is on the back. He doesn't want to get held up here. He's going to be desperate to get past these two.
And Alp's not going to go for the move on Rocco. This is unbelievable. Rocco hangs on down into turn 7. Goes Falcon through, however. In the meantime on Pease and behind, and he's coming from a different parish in terms of this race. As Izzat's retired through turn number 5. Rocco leads the way. He's having to be so slow out the corners. Pease there has been caught up in an incident as well. Coming out of turn number 8. He's gone straight on, in fact. Coming down in towards turn number 9. Rocco though leads, Alp in second, goes Falcon all of a sudden, could be in chance of a race win. J. Cole to the inside line, and Pease is out of the race as well. J. Cole looks to the inside line, I think, on Packer, didn't manage that move. Rocco has got literally one more corner to try and defend, and then he might be on for the race win here. Alp has got to defend, and he curls to the inside line, and he locks up, and he's gone nearly into the back of Rocco. Goes Falcon all of a sudden alongside him. Rocco is still in the race lead. This is unbelievable. This is willing. This is underdog performance. Alp has to try and do a bump to pass, to try and pass in towards turn 18. Can't find a way through. Rocco is absolutely driving the hell out of this McLaren. Alp has to look for something. Maybe into the final 2 corners. He gets the traction. Rocco and Alp spins. Alp spins, and Rocco through the final corner on the run to the line wins in Singapore. What a race! My word! Killer second, J. Cole third! Oh my word!
Rick doesn't have a wing!
Rick does have a wing!
Oh,
Rick
does have
a wing of mine! Oh my word! What have we just witnessed? Rocco! Absolute lion-like in the McLaren! How on earth he's defending off Alp, I do not know! J. Cole gets driver of the day. Nobody cares about him for driver of the day, watered by the in-game fans. There's only one man that is going to get driver of the day here tonight, and that is Rocco. How on earth has he done that? It's an underdog performance. I mentioned it earlier on. He was having a great race in the first half. Second half he came alive. Inspired strategy call. Rocco takes the race win, and he's a multiple race winner once again in League of Europe Division 1. Phenomenal defensive driving, and that, if you want a lesson in defensive driving around Singapore, look at that man there.
That was absolutely bizarre. They obviously started in order as well on the grid. 13th, 14th and 15th. That's got to be the weirdest podium I've ever seen. Absolutely outrageous.
Oh.
I feel for a few people in that race. Ghost Falcon, no fault of his own. Slippery Cucumber as well. He did so well to come back. Big shout out to him. Rick actually should have been there. He had an incident. There's so many people that got caught up. Obviously Campbell and Izzat and Pete, Gary.
But Matthias is 6th. How? And fastest lap as well. He gets an extra point. Unbelievable. Alp, I think, if he got the traction coming out the final 2 corners, that would have been game over for Rocco. He would have won. Simple as that. Rocco, though, takes the win. Killer in second. J. Cole in third. They're probably going to be the top 3 drivers of the day. Rick in 4th. Cucumber in 5th. He was unlucky. Matthias in 6th. Packer 7th. Falcon in 8th. Alp, Verstappen, Gary Pease, the top finishers in the points. Izzat, Campbell, Wouter, Jensen / Nathan. And then, of course, you'll bring right down at the back of the field. Oh, what a race in Singapore. I normally hate this track. I think I've just fell back in love with Singapore after that race. That was chaotic, dramatic, every synonym you could throw underneath the sun. That was brilliant. Singapore delivers, and Rocco takes a very unlikely victory.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I am going to have to, do you know, I'd love to stay for this one, but genuinely, I don't even have time to do anything, so I'm going to have to just jump off. And, but yeah, oh gosh, that was such a fun race, and thank you for having me with you, and I'll see you and next week. But geez, that's someone to get the bones out of. I will invite everyone actually quickly before we go, because that's a lot easier for me to do. So let me do that.
Oh.
I will make my way. But yeah, that was just that was something else.
Something else. Oh my word.
J. Cole, who I was slandering as well, saying that there's pretty bad. I've got them two. Where's the others? Who's that? I've got the Killer. Where's Killer? He's here. I've got Killer. I've got J. Cole. Who am I missing? Rocco. There we go. All right. Invites are sent, sir. So, but I will leave you to it.
No worries. See you next week. Oh, 2 weeks actually.
2 weeks. Yes. See you later. Thanks.
See ya. Oh my word! What a race in Singapore. We're gonna get the top 3 into the party right now, and we could speak to the underdog who took the win here in Singapore. It is Rocco, and Rocco, how on earth you have won that race in Singapore after Alp all over the back of you for the final lap of that race? Just comes to show A, what a defensive driving procession you put on there, and B, what on earth just happened. It was fantastic racing, and as I say, underdog performance.
I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it, is that it?
Yeah. I don't know what else to say.
Oh, honestly, you drove the absolute hell out of that McLaren, as I questioned there in commentary. And you to take the race win, it was an inspired call, obviously staying out underneath that last safety car. Alp in 5th position off that safety car. Were you worried about him coming through the field in the final 2 laps?
Yeah, very. I thought you should have had me really, but I played like the best defense I've ever seen on that last lap.
I think Sunderland could be warranting that defence, to be honest. I think in terms of what we have witnessed out on track, it was absolutely phenomenal stuff. From your perspective, of course, it was an inspired call staying out, taking another race win. You must be really happy because, as I mentioned in commentary a couple of times, actually, you went 3 wide in towards turn number 1 in the F2 race we've done around here. You got both of them, I think, around the outside of turn number 3 that day. And in the end, you put off a defensive masterclass like this. Singapore, you absolutely love.
I can do it all. Give me anything to do on this track. Other than qualify, I can do it.
He can do it. He can do it. And yeah, it was a fantastic, obviously, to witness, and a second win. I think it's a second win of the season, or second podium at least of the season.
Yeah, I got a podium somewhere else. I can't know where. Oh,
No.
Imola?
Imola?
Yeah.
I think it was. Was it like P2, P3?
Yeah. And then last season, obviously, I won Austria. But yeah, get J. Cole out of it because I think Ethan's going to be second.
Oh, we'll come on to, of course, that J. Cole and Killer in a little while. Final question from me, though, of course. We return to where it all happened last season, of course. Season 7, I think it was. And that is Austria in 2 weeks' time. How do you think you're going to get on around there?
Another win, seems like. If I can do it at Singapore, I can obviously do it there. So, yeah, should be alright.
Should be alright indeed. No dive bomb Rudy to worry about this season either, which I think is going to be very, very good, I think, from the LOE perspective. Rocco, go and enjoy your evening.
Thank you very much. Thanks for commentating.
You are very welcome indeed. My voice nearly went, by the way, at the end of that race, because that was just phenomenal ending once again. Finishing, of course, in P2 in this race, and we think currently in P2, it is Mr. Kiwior Killer, and Killer out on track. Second position, were you expecting it at all?
No, I don't think anyone was expecting that podium. That was absolutely cracking. I love that. That was fun. Let's do Singapore every week. Although me and J. Cole did think we were in for a good race because we selected the harder tyre option, so that when the first safety car came out, we went on to mediums and then back onto hards. We thought everyone on the mediums would be mudded by the end of the race. We thought we were cooking something special, but then the safety car just made it extra special because everyone kept crashing into each other.
And both of you obviously came through the field. You started, 14th and 15th, I think, both of you. You started 14th, certainly, out on track. How was that feeling, just seeing everyone crashing around of you and just gaining positions? I'm sure you were probably thinking, I'm not going to get a podium in terms of the I'm going to get a podium in terms of the penalties, but certainly not out on track.
Well, yeah, I never thought I'd get one on track because I had Larkin Jeff in me, and he was like, I don't know if you know, but the two Astons in front of you have got penalties, so you're a net P3. And I was like, shut up. And then I just saw Out backwards coming out of the last chicane, and then it was just brilliant because you just saw ghosted cars everywhere. It was like, there's another one and another one and another one and another one. I mean, D1's driving standards this season have been absolute shambles, don't get me wrong, but when it benefits you, it's chef's kiss beautiful.
Chef's kiss beautiful. That's because Rudy's, I think, left this season. That's why the driving standards, I think, have been so terrible. He has graced us with his presence, of course, last season. Final question, of course, from me, because I know you've got a hot foot over for Division 2. Austria in 2 weeks' time. How do you think you're going to get on around there?
Back to my usual standards. I'll be crashing out on lap 6, so watch for that safety car that's inevitably coming. What's my best result this season? My best result was 7th. Before today, which was at Monaco, funnily enough. So I think there's a certain type of race I do well in. If it's anything like this week, maybe I can get better points, but otherwise 11th or 12th and I'm happy.
11th or 12th and you're happy. Hopefully there'll be more points to come, and hopefully you will continue on the good form that you have shown from tonight. Go and enjoy your evening, and good luck for Division 2.
Thank you for the commentary.
You are very welcome indeed, and we now go to the other half of the commentary box team for Division 2. It is Mr. J. Cole, who finished there in 3rd. And J. Cole, first and foremost, again, same question that I asked Killer. Podium really not on the cards for you throughout that race?
No. To be honest, no. When I saw all of that carnage going around, I was surprised that I actually wasn't collected for once. So I'll take it. I'm happy with getting P3. For now, I've heard from other QBR members that it's not sticking, but I don't care, I'm taking it for now, whatever.
Well, you're here with me, so I would definitely take it,
Yeah.
I think, for a P3 interview, that's for sure. Of course, Packer, I believe, overtook under a yellow flag, and that was, I think, against the game, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that 5-second penalty might get removed just for a bit of context around that as well. But talk about the safety calls as well, because you were well down the field in terms of the safety calls. We saw you come in from that set of mediums to that set of hard compound tyres, and was that an inspired strategy call at that time?
Yeah, like Gilla said, at the start of the session we both picked a harder tyre, so I only did 2 laps on the set of softs, and only one of them I invalidated, so ended up starting 15th. And then, yeah, when that first safety car came out around sort of lap 9, we knew that something like that could happen, so it was just quite easy just to say, you know what, chuck on another set of mediums and then chuck on the fresh set of hards and just try and take them to the end. I didn't think everybody was going to try and take the mediums to the end. I thought everyone else would like bid twice for it, but it worked out in the end somehow.
It did work out in the end somehow as well. And obviously, final question from me before you've got a hot footed for Division 2. Austria, 2 weeks' time, of course, fresh after the Good Friday and Easter break. How do you think you're going to get on around there?
To be fair, last season I actually didn't do too bad around there, but I don't know. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I don't want to say anything, to be honest with you. I just don't want to try and jinx it.
Definitely not. It's the worst thing to do, I think, be a jinx, especially to Matthias, I think, a little bit earlier on from my end anyways, and they ended up in the points in P6, but it was fantastic. Go and enjoy your evening. Good luck for Division 2.
Bro, cheers, boys.
You are very welcome indeed, and that rounds us up very neatly indeed for tonight for Division 1. As we alluded to there, Division 2 and Division 4 are going to be very much live indeed in around about 3 minutes, so I'm going to literally hop it off here. I'm going to have to take a throat menthol and soothers and whatever, because I am feeling absolutely worn out after that race. Phenomenal though from everyone. Of course, congratulations to Rocco on that underdog performance for that race win, and to J. Cole and Killer provisionally, of course, for being on the podium, finishing 3rd and 2nd respectively. Yes, I did say those names completely the wrong way around, but still. That rounds us off neatly though for tonight. Big thank you to Mr. Mark Aldridge for joining me in the commentary box. We're going to see you, of course, after the Easter break. Happy Easter to one and all, and a happy Ramadan as well to everyone that is celebrating that as well. We really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, tick that notification bell, of course, if you're brand new to the channel. We are going to see you in 2 weeks' time. Until then, I've been James Head, he's been Mark Aldridge. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.